Nobuo Uematsu. Just quickly, we're in town for, of course, to see you, first and foremost.
Well, yeah.
And we have a concert tomorrow night with the Baltimore Symphony at Meyerhoff here in Baltimore, so all the music of Final Fantasy, from all versions of Final Fantasy, will be played tomorrow night. We'd love to see all of you there. We're close to sold out, but not quite yet, so I think there's a few more tickets available. So I think we're here for questions and answers. And I don't know how to...
All right, the way we're going to do the questions and answers is please line up orderly. There's a mic on this side, a mic on that side.
一つ目、ごめんなさい、時間があれなんで、今のはちょっと分かったんで、答えちゃいますね。2枚目のアルバムを来年の春には出したいと思ってます。で、アースマントパスで、何かゲームのBGM を一つ担当できればいいなと今企んでいるところです。
The second CD will be out next spring in 2012, and I hope that this project could also do music for a video game project.
Thank you. And my next question is, I know that you're doing a concert here tomorrow and future concerts in Los Angeles. Could you tell me what it is like touring the United States and how it's different than performing in Japan?
日本人の気持ちはなんとなく僕も日本人だから分かるような気がするんですけど、アメリカ人がこうファイナルファンタジーの曲を聴いてどう反応するのかっていうのは実際にこう蓋を開けてコンサートやってみないと分かりませんからね。いつもこうドキドキです。でもいつも皆さん喜んでくださってるんで、アメリカでやってよかったなというふうに思います。
Oh, since I'm Japanese, I have a general grip of what kind of reaction I can expect from a Japanese audience. And so I'm always nervous about how the American audience will react to Final Fantasy music. But I'm always happy to see that the audience enjoys the concert. So I'm happy about it.
Okay. I wanted to ask how composing music has changed from the 8-bit era to today.
メロディーと和音を作るっていうことに関しては何にも変わらないですけど、今の方が、いろんな音色も使えますし、スタジオで録音したものをゲーム機で流せますから、仕事としては多分今の方が楽になってると思いますね。
Well, in terms of composing the melody and the harmony, it's still the same effort. But what's different is that you can use a lot more different instruments, and you can also do take studio recordings and put that directly into the game. So the effort is actually easier today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I want to know what's your favorite video game soundtrack that is outside of Square Enix and why?
As in my work or not my work?
Not your work, sorry.
What's on you?
レイトの教授というゲームがアメリカではリリースされているのか。
Is the Professor Layton series available in the States? I very much love the music from the Professor Layton series.
Very good choice.
Hi, I'm from the Ninja Legion, and our question for you is, do you have a favorite beer in the United States?
Samuel Adams.
Have you ever wanted to do anything else besides make music? Like ever had a second goal before becoming a composer?
I wanted to become a pro wrestler.
Did you ever expect that your music for video games would expand into more like the Distant Worlds and the Black Mages? And did you have anything else planned for the future?
そんなことは昔はゲーム音楽がこんなことになるなんて思いもなかったですし、今自分がここにいるのもちょっと夢見心地な感じですよね。 この先どうなるかっていうのは予測できないですよ。業界のことで予測できてそれが当たったら僕大金持ちですから。
Well, I never thought that video game music would take off like this, and I still feel like I'm in a dream that I'm here in front of everyone. But if I could forecast what was going on in the video game industry, I would be a rich man.
And one more. Have you ever cosplayed?
それはないけど、でもロックバンドなんかのライブの時にブラックメイジスのライブブラックメイジの格好をしたことありますね。
I have put on the Black Mage outfit for that.
Thank you very much.
Which do you like, Coca-Cola or Pepsi?
Coca-Cola, Pepsi, どちらが好きですか?
Both. Are you living or dead?
Listening to your music over the years for Final Fantasy, what always drew me to it was how it would pull an emotional response for me. I was wondering what music draws an emotional response from you, video game or otherwise.
昔のヨーロッパの映画のヨーロッパ映画の音楽メインテーマとかですかね。そういうのすごく僕は好きですね。
That would be a lot of film scores from old European music. Those are my favorites.
Uematsu, you did a lot of work with the Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross series, and you made things from haunting melodies of the ruined future and the memorable Zeal, Kingdom of Zeal, and then in Chrono Cross you made these tropical, like medieval themes going on. What was your whole thought process with the Chrono series? How did you feel working on it?
クロノシリーズは三田康則という男がメインになってやってる仕事で、彼があんまり頑張りすぎて倒れちゃったんで、僕が急遽呼ばれて参加しただけで、そんなにこうなんですかね、ほとんどの曲三田君が書いてるんですよ。ですから僕なんかヘルプな感じですかね。
Well, the main composer for the Chrono series was Yasunori Mitsuda, but he worked too hard and he collapsed. So I was called in as a relief aid. So most of the music is actually his. I just only helped out a bit. True story.
Can I also take a picture with you?
上松さんと写真一緒によろしいですか?
Now? I think it's no time.
All the music you write and all the games that you've been writing for and composing for, they all take everybody on a journey. When you're composing, do you write more for the immortality or the ideals of the story itself, or do you write for the characters within the story to bring them to life?
どっちでしょうね。Both.
Outside of video games, have there been any new and up-and-coming composers for maybe movies or just making CDs of their own that you have been impressed by or inspired by?
若手って誰かいるかな。若手。これね、最近ね、あんまり新しい音楽を聴かないんですよ。昔のこうなんでしょうかね、ジャズとかクラシックとかばっかりで、最近の流行りの音楽って僕レディー・ガガしか聴かないから。
Well, I haven't had the chance. I haven't been listening to contemporary music too much. I've been listening to a lot of older jazz and classical music. So, about the only contemporary music that I've listened to recently was Lady Gaga.
Alright, so as a GameStop manager, I've seen for the past few years that people have gone more from the games like Final Fantasy, where everything's about the music, the gameplay, and the story, to things like Call of Duty and What would you want to say to the fans who still see finer things in games, when they still go and they listen for the soundtracks and they follow the story? Do you have anything specific you'd like to say to those kind of fans?
でもほら時代によってどういうものが流行るかっていうのは僕もわからないし、物事ってほら一つのことがずっと同じように続いていくことっていうのは健全じゃないんですよ。何かしらやっぱしこう変化していかないと、何も変化が起きない文化って滅びるんですよ絶対。だから何か文化なり何かしらが残っていくとすれば時代に即した変化が必要なんで、昔に比べてあれが変わったこれが変わったっていうのは考えてもしょうがないんじゃないでしょうかね。
Well, it's very difficult to have a grasp of what's popular in contemporary times, but I would say that it's not healthy for us to insist on something to be always the same. You need change, and a culture that doesn't change is only destined for extinction. So you need to keep up with the times and go along with that.
How long does it normally take to make one piece of music?
一曲作るのにどれだけ時間かかりますか？
でもそれはね曲によりますけど、本当に早かったら15分とかでできちゃうのもあるし、短い曲ですけどね、長い曲だとやっぱり1週間ぐらい悩む時もありますね。
It depends on the piece, but if it's a short one, I've done 15 minutes for one piece, and sometimes it can take as long as a week.
Hello.
Hi.
Who is your favorite musician or composer?
一番好きなミュージシャン作曲家は誰がいますか？
いっぱいいますけどね、もう月並みですけど、でもやっぱりビートルズとかのメロディーとかコード進行はすごく独創的で素晴らしいと思う。ロックならば、クラシックとかだと僕すごい綺麗なメロディーのチャイコフスキーとか好きですかね。あと響きが現代的な響き、ラベルとかも好きですかね。
I have a lot, but for rock music, it's an ordinary answer, but the Beatles are always wonderful. Their melody and chord progression is something that's always great to listen to. And as for classical composers, I'd bring up Tchaikovsky, and I also like Ravel.
Hi. My question was, why didn't you end up following your career, or well, not a career, but your dream of becoming a wrestler? You look like a man of strong physique.
力持ち、なぜプロレスラーにはならなかったんですか？
体ちっちゃかったんですよね。もしかしたらメキシコに行ったらできたかもね。
Well, I'm small, so maybe if I immigrated to Mexico, perhaps.
Hi. As many songs as I'm sure you've written over the years, I've always been really curious. Prior to the development of different Final Fantasy games, were there any songs that you had already written that you thought would be like perfect to fit a certain song in the game?
No.
Hi. I was wondering, out of all of the games that you compose for, if you play any of them. If so, what's your favorite?
自分が参加したやつは全部やってますよ。で、一番好きなのはね、でもどれも思い出深いですもんね。でもね、どれも好きですけど、一番こう苦労したっていう意味では6かな。ファイナルファンタジーの6ですね。
Well, I've played all the video games that I've worked on, and I'm fond of all of them, but if I were to come up with one favorite, I had the most tough time with Final Fantasy VI, so I'd bring that.
I would just want to say what an honor it is to be in the same room as such a legend as yourself, and I think everyone else here is feeling just as honored. And my question is, what inspires you to keep going, to keep making music that all of millions of fans around the world just love dearly?
なんで続けてるんでしょうかね。なんかいつもこういい曲ができたと思っても、 もっといいものができるんじゃないかってどっかで思ってるんでしょうね。だからいつまでたってもこう作り続けるしかないんじゃないんでしょうかね。
It's hard to describe, but perhaps I'm thinking to myself that even if I come up with something that I think is great, somewhere I think that I can do even better, and that's probably what keeps me going.
When you recreate some of your songs, Battle on the Big Bridge for 5 to 12, as well as many others, is that more or less challenging for you?
でもそれは僕だけのアイデアじゃなくていろんなアレンジャーさんのアイデアなんかも入りますから、僕だけのアイデアで一回作ったものをまたリアレンジするとあんまり面白いものにはならないと思うんですよね。一人の発想ですから、そこにアレンジャーさん、別のアレンジャーさんのアイデアが入ってよりこう曲が膨らんでいくというか、だからそんなに苦労はしてないですかね。楽しいですよ。楽しい作業ですよ。
It's fun work, but it's just not me. It's when those works are done, there's another arranger who does the arrangement, and they put their own input in. So it's not as stale as a one-person job. So that's the fun part, and I think it enhances the works. So it's good.
I was wondering, out of all of the works that you've composed and come up with, what would be one that you would say was either the most difficult or most tedious, or one that was most time-consuming to come up with?
退屈だと難しかったものは何だろうな。ワンウィングドエンジェル。ワンウィングドエンジェルっていうのが一番難しかったし、時間もかかったのもそれですね。1週間ぐらいかかったっていうのはその曲ですかね。退屈だった曲っていうのは何だろうな。
For difficult and time-consuming, that's it. That's the one that took 1 week to do.
退屈だった曲
As for tedious, though,
ないですよ。
there's been no piece that was tedious to compose.
いいのかな今の。
Is that good?
Yes. Considering the variety of natures of mediums and arrangements you've used to have your music played and composed, what is your favorite arrangement or medium to use? What size of group? Soloist versus full orchestra?
それどれも楽しいですね。味わいが違うというか。
They're all fun. They all come in different flavors.
Of the music you've composed for Final Fantasy, has there been a particular piece that has caught you off guard or surprised you at the amount of popularity it gained over others?
チョコボ。
Thank you.
My question is, any upcoming projects or anything with the Black Mages? I love the live performances that I've seen videos of. I love the CDs. Any chance of a possible US tour?
ブラックメイジズこれからの展開何かありませんか？特にアメリカは。
ですからそのブラックメイジズっていうのは今亡くなってさっきのアースバンドパパスっていうバンドになってるんですよ。メンバーが2人変わって。ブラックメイジスっていう名前が使えなくなっちゃったんですね。スクエアエニックスがその名前の権利を持ってるんで、ほとんどみんなメンバーが会社を辞めちゃったんで、ブラックメイジスっていう名前が使えなくなっちゃったんですよ。
Okay, well, Black Mages is no longer. 2 of the former members have left, and we are now Earthbound Papas because Square Enix owns the name to Black Mages. We can't use it.
だからアースバウンドパパスに期待してください。
So please support Earthbound Papas.
Okay, can you remember the first piece that you ever wrote? And do you have an opinion on the music of Yoko Kanno and the Seatbelts?
それわかんないな僕。曲は僕覚えてますよ。最近作ったこの間去年の3月かな僕が作詞作曲したちょっと童謡っぽい音楽ばっかり作って CD にしたものがあるんですけど、その中に僕がね10歳か11歳ぐらいの時に作った曲入れてみました。 で2つ目の質問ちょっと僕分かんないそれ。
Well, and I can't answer your second question because I'm not familiar with the band, but I do remember the very first piece I composed. That's included in the CD that I released the March of last year in 2010. It's a collection of pieces that sound like children's music, and I included the piece that I composed when I was 10 years old.
Yes. You said earlier that you had played a few of the Final Fantasy games, and we're all Final Fantasy fans here pretty much, so I was wondering, do you have like a favorite character or something?
それもキャラクターの音楽全部作ってますからみんな思い入れありますけどね、やっぱりゲームに出てきてすぐ死んじゃったエアリスってすごい印象的ですよね。
Well, since I wrote the character music for all of them, there was much fondness, but there is one girl who dies almost immediately. That would be Aerith.
And also, since we're in Maryland, do you like crabs?
で、これが欲しいですけども、カニは好きですか？
ああ、好きですね。I love it.
Yes.
Yeah. I was just wondering what, if you remember, particularly was your inspiration for some of the music in Final Fantasy VII, particularly the main theme song?
僕が勝手に日本人の僕が勝手に想像する僕はねあの時アメリカの田舎の映像を勝手に想像してアメリカの田舎に今自分がいたとしたらどんな音楽が流れるかなって想像しながら作りましたね。
Well, I was coming up with the Japanese notion of what kind of a boony town American would have, what kind of music would go along to a boony town in America, and that's what I came up with.
When you work with different musical arrangers who arrange the music like in the last story, do you get to choose who arranges it or does the publisher choose?
ラストストーリーのように、アレンジが入るときというのはアレンジャーというのは上松さんの方で選ぶのですかそれとも出版社の方で選ぶのですか？I choose them.
Hello. Can you whistle the Final Fantasy Victory fanfare for us?
口笛でお願いします。
I'd just like to say I love your music, and so I was wondering, how exactly did you start your career in music? Like, was there anything that particularly motivated you to pursue that music?
いやまあモチベーションというのはとにかく音楽が好きだったこの音楽の業界でこう裾野でもいいから何かしらの関わった仕事をしたいなって子供の頃から思ってたっていうのが思い続けてたっていうのがモチベーションだと思うんですけど初めてやった仕事はね僕多分日活のポルノ映画の音楽だと思いますねお金を得たのは。
Let's see. I've always loved music and wanted a career in the music field, even if it were in the periphery. So that was, as a kid, and that would be my motivation. And my first job in the industry, though, was probably a soundtrack for a porn film.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. I'm sorry we need to wrap up. The next panel is going to be here soon. So I gave out all the tickets to all the people in line. But let's give Mr. Uematsu one last round of applause, please.